Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of On the Paint Table. This is my weekly show where you see what I got done, what I'm working on, and what is coming up. So, this week I only actually painted 2 models, but I swear I have an excuse, and that's because I built all the Space Marines, primed them, and got the base coats airbrushed down from Warhammer 40,000 INDOMITUS. And as I'm a stickler for mold lines and all that cleaning and stuff like that, that takes a significant amount of time. I've said this about a bajillion times, but I would much rather paint miniatures than build them at this point in my hobby life. And yeah, I'm impressed I even got through it. I have an intercessor squad that I've been meaning to build basically since like 2 on the paint tables ago, and I dug them out and was like, I'll get ready for INDOMITUS. And then I just looked at them and I was like, so many mold lines to scrape. Like, not even that there's mold lines on the models, but I would still check everything and scrape them. It just takes forever. And so yeah, so I got everything done from the starter set. That intercessor squad's still in a box. And I also painted 2 miniatures for Perilous Tales. You can see those, they got done for some Perilous Tales that I filmed just recently. And yeah, and we're gonna be playing a lot of 40K, and I started a new Ultramarine army. So I did bring in the paints that I used for the airbrushing. A lot of you folks have asked how I did the blue on my Ultramarines, and so I put some finished Ultramarines from my Space Marine Heroes and Reaver Squad next to what I've got airbrushed here, just so you can see the beginning steps, basically, and what it's going to turn out to look like. So let's see what I got done and what is coming up. So first things first, here are my 2 new members for my Perilous Tales team. I've got 2 cool little, like, it's Tango and Cash. They're my just like SWAT members, basically, just like Fibby SWAT members, the ETF kind of team guys. Both just handguns, and I think these are Cobblestone, or maybe even be Foundry Street Violence minis. I don't remember. They've been sitting in my bits box forever. I think Jay gave me these maybe 10 years ago. I wanted an excuse to make them forever. They have fixed bases. You can see I've just putted them into the base and painted them up. They were done with a Regal blue, some kind of blue, maybe dark Signar blue, and then Eshin gray for all of the patchwork and the attack vest and stuff like that, and then washed with some black. All the details picked out, and I believe that's pig iron or boiler black from P3 for all the metallics, highlighted with old Citadel chainmail. The bases were painted with just sand, and then painted over with some dried bark, dry brushed with Astronomicon gray, cover color, Astronomicon gray, and then I think Elf1 gray, and then some tufts from Huge Minis. And here's what ate up most of my week, the Marine half of INDOMITUS, which is a pretty impressive amount of models. It's 23 minis, 24 minis. So 2 dozen models to build and paint, and I will say that much like the Necron half, if you watched my review yesterday of, or 2 days ago, no, yesterday. Yeah, yesterday of the Warhammer 40,000 core book, this big guy right here that comes in this box. I'll link it in the video description, or even in the cards. These are production models, so when I say production models, what I mean is the models you're going to get separately, probably in a box set, these are them. So the Assault Intercessors and the Scooter Bike guys, the Outriders, are definitely they're on an individual frame. So I would imagine, much like the Scorpec Destroyers and the Warriors in the big box, these are the ones you're going to be able to buy separately. I'm actually, the Warriors for sure, I can't remember the Scorpec Destroyers on the separate box. I think maybe they're not. I think maybe the big guy is, the big weird squid thing from the Matrix. And then a lot of this stuff is mixed together, so like the Blade Guard Veterans and the Ancient, along with the 2 like chaplain-y characters, and the Eradicators are on like the same frame. So that feels like a star set or a start collecting frame. And then the Lieutenant and the Captain are on their own frames. So I imagine this is all going to be available separately, and then like these are like start collecting minis. But I mean, this is just a guess, just the way the frames are laid out. And you do get some alternate bits. You can do the Captain not on a like a huge base, just on a couple rocks, and also I replaced the Necron on his base because I didn't want the bad guys to be too army specific with just a chunk of masonry. So you have some options basically for building him. He also has 3 separate heads. I went with the one in the box because the visor up head is so cool. It's so neat. And then everything was primed my airbrush with the Green Stuff World Gloss Surface Primer, and that's because I'm using the Color Shift Cobalt Blue as my base coat. And this was the same way that I did my Space Marine Heroes and also my Reavers. Of course, I said I was going to show you, and then immediately forgot to go grab off the shelf. So here's my Space Marine Heroes. This is what they look like when they're done. And you can see here that Cobalt Blue underneath. And then what I do is I pick out all the details. So for instance, the bolter I believe is Eshin Gray, along with the grenades in some gray or green. I use Viking Gold from Scale 75 for all the shoulder pads. And then the skin and metallics and stuff are all done individually. I think the metallics I used are scale 75 black metal, and then I wash everything and then pick out the details. So go in and do, and the pouches and stuff are all dried bark. And then I go in and pick out all the details. And really the only highlight I do on the metallics, because the color shift paint's so awesome, is I just do like a hard edge metallic with, I believe, Stormhost Silver was what I used for everything, just to like pop the details. And then all the lenses are done in like a dark red up through orange with a little dot of white. The bases are done in, I want to say I didn't use Ceradon Granite this time. I'm pretty sure I didn't. I'm pretty sure the bases are actually done in like Eshin Gray, and then I washed them with a thin down Vallejo, I think Rust Red compound, like a weathering compound, and then just highlight them back up. So when I make it's either a weathering compound or I made this, I think because it's gone a little light, I think it's a weathering compound. Sometimes a weathering compound will go a little whitish when you seal it. I think that's a weathering compound, but you can get the same effect with like a red brown, and then just mix it with some gloss varnish and some water, and then wash it in there, and then I just kind of highlight all the edges a little bit more gray. Bang the edges with some silver where it's like supposed to be metallic. And those bases don't come with these. Obviously, the Sector Mechanicus bases don't come in the starter set. The big bike bases, there isn't, I don't think, a Sector Mechanicus base like that. Or if there is, I don't have them. So I'm going to have to fudge those with some techie bits. But everything else is on Sector Mechanicus bases. Except the Captain, because he has his own like built-in base, and I'll just match the color scheme and stuff, make it rubbly and do the same colors. Because the Space Marine Heroes I did the same thing with. So I'm super excited to get these painted. I was rushing to get them done for Monday or for Sunday, but I think I'm just gonna kind of slow down and enjoy them, and we'll see how I get through them. But I mean, they're Space Marines; they don't take very long to paint. Doing the transfer sheet that comes in the box isn't just Ultramarine. So if you were thinking about grabbing this and you were worried about having transfers for your army, you get the Fab, what was it, the Fab 4? Is that what I used to call them? You get Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Space Wolves, and Ultramarines. The big four most beloved of chapters from Workshop in here, and you get something for everybody basically. So you're gonna get wolf markings, even like the Right Sergeant color markings for the Blood Angels. A lot of good attention to detail on this. And then stuff for like your Blade Guard Ancients, your Eradicators, everything you need is gonna be on here. So I got 2 models out of the painted pile. Kind of a slow week, but also not kind of a slow week because I cracked on and got the 24 models from Indomitus built, assembled, and airbrushed, ready to like sort of crack on and paint. And I don't know, I did the Space Marine Heroes one at a time and it was really relaxing. I think I'll run out of steam if I do that. Maybe I'll do them by squad. And then like, the nice thing is there are 5 characters in this box and there are 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So I could do character unit, character unit, character unit. I could even split up the intercessors into 2 squads just to kind of like break the back of it and do that. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do character unit, character unit, character unit. Just kind of like reward myself with the characters and then do the units in between. I also have a trick sometimes where I paint a unit and I get all the batch painting done and I throw a wash on them or something like that. And while I'm waiting for that to dry, then I'll go and I'll pick up the details on a character. Maybe that's how I'll do it. I feel like that's the best way to do it. Because then I'm doing like 5 to 6 models and then a character, and 5 to 6 models and then a character. Yeah. Watch my Instagram. You'll see a lot of stuff popping up. Instagram and Facebook stuff will probably pop up as I paint these this weekend. Because it's also a beautiful weekend and the kids are going to want to go outside, so we'll see how much I get done. Anyway, big thanks for watching. We'll see you for more on the paint table next week and you'll see what got finished. Till then, I'm Ash. Happy gaming. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to support the channel, of course, like and subscribe and hit the little bell below to get notifications when I post future content. I do post stuff 7 days a week. If you want to support the channel further, you can, of course, buy a t-shirt through Spreadshirt, buy a measuring gauge or objective markers from Death Ray Designs, or, of course, most importantly, there is Patreon. Patreon is what makes all this possible, keeps the lights on, pays for the studio costs, pays for the equipment, model costs, and everything else, and most importantly, puts food in my kids' bellies and a roof over their heads. Big thanks to everyone, past, future, who supported me. I do this stuff because of you guys, and of course, I will continue doing it as long as I can.